Hi, everyone. I'm live. Welcome back to this second episode of Studio Visits with Bill. And second episode? I'm sorry. I mean, third episode. Wow. Time's flying, right? When we're doing nothing. Anyway, I'm glad you're all back. And I hope that you were here last week and enjoyed my interview with the great Jill Enfield. That was quite something, and we had a really good time. But today I've got something a little different. It's the great Kerik Kouklis, the one and only, my brother from another mother. Not only a great photographic artist, but another wonderful educator that's taught workshops from Alaska to Glasgow. And he's kind of the one that taught me wet plate, and he's taught me a lot more that he doesn't even really know. I'm sure he knows. But anyway, Kerik's a great guy, and he and I lead some... He's been leading some tours with me lately, one of which that we were supposed to be in the Faroe Islands a couple of weeks ago, but that has been postponed till next year. And if you really want to go on that trip, we're going to be going April 20th to 28th next year, and there are 2 spots available, I believe. You can go to my website at www.billschwab.com and look under workshops and tours, and it's in there, and it has the dates. And anyway, I believe there are 2 spaces left right now. We are going again, and the whole crew that was coming with us this time is slated to go as well. So hopefully the world will be a little bit more normal at that time, and we'll be able to go on that trip. Again, that'll be April 20th to 28th, and you can join the man that you're going to meet right now, Kerik Kouklis, and I. We have a really good time, and yeah, I just can't even say. We'll talk about it a little bit here. I'm going to go on here and look and see if Kerik's with me, and he is. So without further ado, I just want to introduce you to Kerik, and we'll get on with this because I think we're going to have some fun here. All right, so we'll see what happens here. We did a little test earlier, and he jumped right in, so we'll see if he jumps right in again. It says connect. Ah, there he is.
Hey.
Ooh, welcome.
It's working.
Yeah, you're looking good. Oh, see, now you got the hat on. I've got my hat here just in case things go awry in the next hour, you know.
Well,
It's been kind of hard, yeah.
I thought it was a better look for now.
That's all right. No, it's good. I'm glad. I won't feel so bad when I put mine on. But I also have my handy dandy Repel Sportsman's bug spray today too, because otherwise I'd be getting carried away out here. I didn't want to do another one from inside the workshop. So it looks like we got a few people watching here. This is great. It'll hi everyone. We can probably, oh hey David, yeah, there's going to be people. We'll call out to you if we see you, and if we don't, it's because we don't have our glasses on. I hope you got a pair of reading glasses with you so you can see.
No.
Doing pretty good. And there's Jill.
I'm nearsighted. I take the glasses off when I want to read.
Oh man. See, that would have been something good to have. I can see at distances, but I need these things to see anything up close. Like right now, you look great, is what I'm saying. Just kidding. No.
Well, let me stand back so you look better.
I'm never, for everybody that's watching, I'm usually the slow guy in our group, and I am the one that kind of takes a lot of the hits. So, because I'm just not quick enough to come back. So anyway, get an early one in. Kerik is sitting on my favorite deck in the whole world, as I can see, and as you can see. Yes, he lives near Placerville, California, up in the hills, and nice place. And I live here in the middle of the woods in northern Michigan, as you can see. So anyway, this is going to be a good conversation. So I don't know, what do you want to talk about? You said you were going to bring some work that you could show and things like that? Well,
I've got some things to show, but
let's talk a little bit about. Huh?
I got to say something first, though.
All right, go ahead. Remember,
there's a guy
people
named...
watching.
No. I will remember that. There's a super nice, gentle man named Jan Peterzak, platinum printer, passed away, I guess, last night.
I just saw that, yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to pay a little tribute to him. I'd met him several times over the years at the Bostic and Sullivan get-togethers and whatnot. Just the sweetest man you'd want to know. Beautiful work.
Yeah.
And anyway.
Yeah, well, he is, a matter of fact, it's the most strange thing because I don't understand what happened. I just spoke with him a month ago, and or maybe a little bit. It was March 25th was the date on it, and we were talking about his image that was in, or his images in Jill Enfield's book, and you know, he was very sweet because he had seen mine, and he wrote to me specifically to say how much he liked it, and we exchanged a few words back and forth, and
Jill, it is sad. I see your comment there. I know just such a sweetheart. I mean, and it
Yeah,
just
yeah,
goes
Joe.
to show you, you never know. None of us ever know. And
I know,
so, you know,
especially in these times. You know, I mean,
do what you want to do now. Don't
yeah,
plan for 20 years. Don't plan for 10 years. Try to
yeah,
do, you know,
yeah. I agree.
don't live on the borrowed time because, you know,
I agree.
anyway, I didn't want to
Yeah,
start this on a
that was
sad
very
note, but
sad.
I did want to pay.
I saw Kirk Giddings post, and I know that Kirk and
Yeah.
you were good friends as well, and that's a shame.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, anyway,
I wanted to mention that.
my heart goes out to
Um,
his friends and family, and I never had the pleasure of
absolutely.
actually meeting him in person. So,
Yeah, I met him a few times at the Bostic and Sullivan platypus parties over the years,
oh yeah.
and just always a nice guy. Always, you know, had encouraging things to say to people. Anyway, it's just
Well, you know what? In this, I will also put mention of this, and I'll spell his name like it's spelled, and give some information on how to see some of his work.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because quite a guy. Yeah, I mean, it's
So
just this, our
anyway,
community is, you know, I remember back to, you know, back on a happier note, I remember kind of first meeting you, sort of meeting you, quote unquote, way back in the CompuServe days and in the use group days and things like that. And I was talking with that
for you
about
kids
like,
out there, that used to be the internet.
yeah, that, yeah, that used to be the internet. And we used to fight real hard on that too. You know, I mean, it was always funny how when everybody's minds first came together and we'd all been kind of doing this stuff and how, you know, but you know, the cream rises to the top in all these years. You know, I can remember Chris Anderson from back then. I can remember Jill. I can remember you. It's just these names just kind of have been with
We're
us
all
now
old,
for
is
the
what you're
last.
saying. We're all old. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
true.
yeah. And you know,
Well,
and
I remember you is the weird dude with a webcam in his darkroom.
yeah, my
I mean,
darkroom cam.
I didn't even know what a webcam was when you were doing that. You know, you were
Yeah.
always out a little bit ahead of the curve.
Well, you know, I did
Um,
some things and you know, that put me into contact. I had this assignment to photograph at the Woodstock 94. And I'd already had an email address because of all people, my dad got me to get an email address, but it was like on the old merit system that was just like the college things, you know, and you know, you'd be on there
yeah,
and think, oh my God, I'm talking to a guy in Colorado, you know.
there
But
were phones.
anyway, you know, then I went to the Woodstock thing, and they had this booth there where they actually had the internet, they had the web, and they were broadcasting people's pictures right then. And oh man, the light bulb went off, and I went home and got my first URL, and the rest is history, you know. But yeah,
And same
yeah,
thing with
so
the website. I mean, when my website was still on AOL and it had like 5 different colors of text, you had a super cool, nicely designed, clean website that you did by
yeah.
yourself.
Well,
So,
there
you
was a
know,
lot of sleepless. Thank you, but there was a lot of sleepless nights that went into that. I mean, because if you remember, you had to write the code back then, and I didn't know the code, so I had to learn the code, and you know, my whole life was a
see,
series of learning curves.
um,
Yeah,
AOL had a way you could do it without knowing code, and so that's how I did it way
yeah,
back
yeah, yeah.
then. And
Well, it was
if you
cool
get on
because
the
in those
wait,
days,
go
go,
ahead.
yeah, you just look people up, and it'd
I
be
was,
like, oh my God, that's how we knew each other, is because we were the only ones doing this stuff. Yeah, we
yeah,
kind of got grandfathered into it all. Anyway, look at us now,
apparently
you
so.
know. Yeah, we're the old guard now, so that's
Look at all
fine.
this
But
gray
I don't
hair,
mind that
gray
position.
hair. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, gray hair, brain surgery, a couple new hips, some back surgery, the whole 9 yards, you know. Yeah,
yeah.
well.
Shoulders next.
Oh yeah. Oh well. Well, we won't tell people about our ailments. Um, but anyway, so we went back to those really early days, and they were a lot of fun. But it was, you know, the thing was, and like I was talking with Jill, and she mentioned that it just exponentially everything grew from there, you know, because we
Yeah,
all of our minds got together, and there was no waiting for email, and there was easy ways to find people, and anyway, so there you were. But another thing that I want to say before is Kerik was not only, I mean, you've been really instrumental in a lot of this stuff that's come out, you know, I mean, you know, and no disrespect to anybody else that's done this, like, you know, like Mark and France and everybody on down the line, but you were the first person I saw doing wet plate. Well, I take that back. Joe Smigel, I saw doing some wet plate, but you were the first person that I saw amongst all of us that were doing it, you know, and you were doing it kind of with a vengeance and doing it really nicely and really cleanly. And I think that you know, at least in that whole APUG crowd, you were the one that sort of were the catalyst that got everybody in it. You know, you can remember 10 years ago when everybody had their avatar was their wet plate portrait, you know. I mean,
yeah.
you were there, and you also, I really kind of not only credit, but also blame with antique lenses going so expensive on mine, you know. Because you and like Jim Galley and all these people that used to use these lenses, and we were looking through, 19th century glass at a 19th century process, and it was like, wow, it was like the world changed. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But anyway, here you are now. You're flying drones, and
Yeah, my favorite camera has propellers now.
yeah.
So
tell me a bit about that. Tell me a little bit about the one you just ordered. Kerik has just recently gotten a new. Oh, okay.
No,
All right.
I'm kidding. It's the latest one that DJI has come out with. It's a Mavic Air 2, but what's really impressive about it is how well it follows and avoids obstacles.
Yeah.
And 48 megapixel stills. Most of my drone work,
that's
honestly,
nice.
I mean, I do plenty of video, but I really mainly use the drone as a still camera.
Right.
I've been doing this series. I'll just show a few since I'm talking about it. I've been doing
Excellent.
this series that I call remote sensing, and it's basically looking straight down at the Earth, which is how we rarely see it, right? We're either looking, from a mountaintop or whatever.
And it becomes so abstract.
My background, yeah. And as you know, my background is a geologist. I was a geologist for 30 years. In college, we did a lot of staring at aerial photographs to interpret geology. And even back then, and I was into photography back then as well. I had my first darkroom when I was 12. So It's like, well, someday I'm going to learn to fly a plane and I'm going to do my own aerial photography. Little did I know I could do aerial photography while I'm standing on the ground. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And
so
you're not going to get killed
if it opened up.
Yeah, and you're not going to get killed if it falls out of the sky. Yeah, I agree.
So the drone has just opened up a whole world that's not available otherwise.
Right.
So what I've been doing is taking these stills shot straight down and then compositing them together to create something completely different.
Oh yeah.
So this is 8. So it's one image doubled over and then doubled over and doubled over.
Yeah.
Just to to create something completely
different. So are you
different,
now able
right?
to, like, when you're doing these, like, are you able to kind of, I mean, is your brain? Yeah. Wow. Is your brain going here now? Are you starting to see this?
There's definitely things I look for when I'm flying, but then I just take a whole bunch of stills, obviously, click, 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 click.
Yeah.
And then when I start processing the images and figure out which pieces of which images look cool when you flip them and match them together, and then sort of go from there. Here's one more like that.
Oh my God, these are really beautiful. I have not seen these.
Yeah, these are all from Japan, by the way. I was in Japan in February with my good buddy Evan Russell from Yancey Adams Gallery.
Yeah, Evan was on earlier. I'm not sure if he's there right now, but yeah.
I hope he's still there.
Yeah.
Well, we had an absolute.
He was there on our test.
Okay.
Yeah.
You should come back then. We had an absolute blast. Evan's a great guy to travel with, and Japan just blew me away. Middle of winter in Hokkaido, everything's white, everything's beautiful. But despite that, the culture there, the people there, it's hard to put into words.
Kind of, compared to what we're dealing with here right now, just people that have just kind of an innate compassion for one another rather than
absolutely. And it's just a slower pace of life. I mean, we were going to go to this one restaurant for dinner. We got there, they were full, so we said, "Oh, come back in an hour." Well, we came back maybe an hour and a half, a little later, and the woman was actually getting in her car to leave, and she saw us crossing the street, and we waved and said, "Oh, that's okay." She basically dragged us into the restaurant and made us dinner, even though she'd already closed. She was ready to go home. I mean, the place was locked. She's getting in her car. And just everywhere in Japan we went, I mean, people were just so kind and so helpful and polite. The speed limit is pretty much 45, maybe 55 in some places. So everything's
pretty mellow.
Very mellow, and just
I really have
beautiful.
A desire to go there at some point. And I don't know. Another thing though that to tell people is that you and Evan were there like right just before the world changed. I mean, Kerik had to quarantine when he came home because he was right on that cusp of not being able to get out.
I got home on March 1st, and I haven't really left since. The farthest away I've been is last weekend. I had to go to Davis to deliver a couple prints, basically 50 miles there, 50 miles back. I mean, since March 1st, that's the farthest I've been from home.
It's a strange feeling too, isn't it? Because
it's
I've only done
weird.
it once,
It's
really.
really weird.
Yeah,
And
it's kind of, you
you
sort of
talked
feel
about,
like, oh my gosh, I don't have my oxygen with me. I'm too far from home. Like, how am I going to get back?
I know. And, like you said, we had to cancel or postpone the Faroes trip.
And we were
Carolyn,
also, I was supposed to see you in Yosemite. I was going to be helping Kerik, just assisting with a workshop he was going to be doing at the Ansel Adams Gallery, which has now been postponed. So, yeah.
yep.
Well,
And we were going to do a family trip to Sweden this summer, which we've put off. And
we were hoping
yeah,
for the
I mean,
60th birthday in Iceland in October, and
yeah, we're gonna move that to the 61st birthday
yeah,
next
yeah.
in 2021 in October. We'll be doing something then, hopefully.
And there you go, everyone that's listening. Kerik and I have done this thing called the Iceland Summit the last few years. We've done 3 of them, and some of the people are on here. I saw Baba saying that she wanted to graduate from her Spark, the little drone. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, but all these people that have come with us and done this Iceland Summit, where we actually kind of hole up in one hotel way up in the north, and the family that we stay with in the hotel are wonderful people and old friends, and it's just a marvelous thing. And we would be doing it this October, but it doesn't look like it. But next October, we'll be doing that as well. So please, everybody stay tuned to that, because those things truly are, they're another thing.
It's a great time.
Yeah,
it's such a great time.
I'd get sick of it, but I just never get sick of it.
Yeah,
there's just nothing. Yeah, it's always good. So anyway,
let me show you.
Oh, there you go. Oh, that's
more Japan,
Hokkaido, right?
Yeah, this is there's a famous Michael Kenna photograph from here.
Right. I know
that I actually have a copy of now.
One there.
Yeah. And it was actually snowing this day. I did a flight here too. I kind of blew it. I could have done a much better job, but I got some decent footage there. But wow. I mean, just in general, I like shooting in the winter. I did the winter trip to Mongolia in, what was that, 2015, I guess. Was it last year? I came out to Michigan.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell the deer
last
story.
Year was my broken leg year. Last year is the year that sort of almost didn't happen, but
it was the year before. Story then. 2 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
So I got to tell this because it's a good.
Yeah. Well, this is funny too, because there was a question on a recent poll that went through to everybody. It's like, huh? But Kerik could answer it. So anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
So I went up, wanted some wintertime shooting. So I flew up to Michigan and spent, I don't know, about a week or so with Bill.
Yeah, you were here. It was really cool.
It was awesome. Really, yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah. Wake up in the morning, it's like, oh yeah, Kerik's here. Let's go play. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I'm sorry.
So anyway, where Bill lives, it's basically long straight roads with trees, lines of trees on either side. Long straight roads. And so, as you can tell, Bill likes to tell a story. And when Bill starts telling a story, you just got to get out of the way.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's a nice way to put it.
Obviously, I'm riding shotgun. I don't know what story Bill's telling me, but off in the woods, I'm looking at Bill this way. I see this deer who's just kind of paralleling the road. So I'm watching this deer. Bill's telling his story. This deer, I said, Bill. So the deer starts angling towards the road. And I didn't want to scream because I didn't want him to slam on his brakes on an icy road. And I finally said, Bill, slow down. So the deer leaps across the road, midair, hits the van. Bill's got this red minivan right above his head, basically. We hear it tumble over the roof, land on the pavement behind us. Bill stops the car. It's like, oh, shit. And we kind of turned and looked in the side view mirrors. The deer gets up, kind of shakes itself off, and ran off into the woods.
I know. We had to go pick up parts of the car and stuff, but yeah, it was kind of weird. It's like Kerik listening to me, and he's tapping me on the shoulder, and I'm thinking, hey, it's ice. I can drive on it. I live here, and just then the windshield fills with deer fur. And we're so lucky that she didn't come through the windshield,
That could have ended a lot worse.
Oh, yeah. And anyway, the story I was telling you, if you remember, is I had just lost my drone over the Straits of Mackinac when we were up there. And so I was ruminating about that and whether we were going to drive to Traverse, which we did that night to buy a new drone. And yeah, that was a fun time. There's still dents in my car from that one. I'm still like, I'm adding up dents until I pay the deductible to get things fixed.
No, you shouldn't fix the deer dent. I mean,
these things, they're trying to kill me all the time up here. They come out of nowhere all the time. I used to love deer and think, oh, they're so cute. Now it's just like, good God, they're about to kill me, you know?
So are the chipmunks too, right?
The chipmunks, they're running around here as we speak. Yeah, I shouldn't have been so kind to them, but so it goes. Anyway, so back to other things. I mean, I know, you know, and in the teaser for this, I used like one of your most famous shots of, you know, of the Golden Gate Park or, you know, looking
the
through
tunnel up Marin
yeah,
Headlands. Yeah.
Yeah, up at the headlands. That's right. And you know, and here we are, we're talking about drones and stuff like that and the internet. But anyway, for those of you that don't know, Kerik's a pretty amazing alternative process printer and is very well known for printing platinum and for printing gum over platinum, which, you know, refresh me on that. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So that's a gum, right?
This is a gum over platinum from Iceland. You recognize that road, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's something I've been doing for a long, long time. I started printing platinum 1989, I think.
Wow.
On what there used to be a machine coated paper called the Palladio paper.
I saw you talking about that the other day, and I was not aware of that. I'm not made that late.
Yeah, that was about 89. I think by 90, 91 they were out of business.
Okay.
But it introduced me to the process, and then I had to figure out how to do it myself. And you know, this is pre-web, and there was almost nothing available information-wise. There's some historical texts.
Historical stuff, I know. Yeah.
Dick Arentz had a little booklet that he had put out. Dick Arentz from Arizona.
Right.
One of the
formerly
truly old.
Michigan.
There you go. One of the truly old guard of alternative process.
Yes.
So I used his book and lots of trial and error, not really knowing what I was doing. But I figured it out, you know, and just have pretty much, as you know, been a platinum printer ever since. And then I've brought gum bichromate in. This one I showed you is a gum bichromate over platinum. Right. And then 2 or 3 years ago, I started doing these color images.
Oh, yeah.
So this is palladium over inkjet. So I start with a color photograph, obviously, in Photoshop. I separate out the black channel, make a negative.
Right.
The color channels get printed with my inkjet printer. Then I make a palladium print out of a negative that I've made out of the black channel. So it gives you this colorized platinum print look.
Right. God, that one, I hadn't seen that one either. That was really beautiful.
And that's right around here. Probably fall of 19, or fall of 18, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've done a lot of that, a lot of that, to the point where I felt like I was done with it for a while, but I could see I'm still going to use it for certain things at certain times. Because what I'm really obsessed with now doesn't even involve paper. And nobody will be able to see this.
Right. Gosh, how could I forget? Hey, wait a minute. Tilt it forward a little bit. This is weird. I can see. Oh, that's me.
That's you.
I was going to say I could see myself in it, but okay, yeah, I get it now. Anyway, yeah, the daguerreotypes.
So yeah, last year at Photostock, Bill brought in Mike Robinson to teach a workshop in daguerreotypy, and
yeah,
I'm hooked.
Yeah.
And I'm now this close after almost a year to being able to do it at home. Mike has designed this system, and this is traditional daguerreotype. It's not Becquerel for people who know the difference.
Right.
This is traditional, authentic, quote unquote, daguerreotype.
Made relatively safe, and you know.
Yeah. Mike has designed a system that makes there's no liquid mercury involved, and blah blah blah.
Right.
So and he's
pretty genius.
System is very ingenious. And Mike's from Toronto. He actually, his PhD is in daguerreotypy.
Yeah.
So I've purchased all the equipment from him that he has designed, patented, and built. And the one last piece of the puzzle I'm still waiting on is bromine. It turns out that is the hardest chemical to get. And my good buddy Dana at Bostic & Sullivan has finally tracked some down for me, so I should have it here in a week or so.
Dana would be the person to go for. I was thinking like Mike at Artcraft, but yeah. So Dana's found some for you?
Yeah.
You didn't have to buy like a 500-gallon drum, did you?
No. Luckily, no. Just I don't know, 500 mils or something, which will be a lifetime supply the way the bromine's used.
Yeah.
So I don't have to do this again. But the issue now is because I live in California, the shipper would not, the supply, he was going to have it drop shipped to me the supplier won't do that to California, so it's going to go to Dana, and then he's going to ship it to me. So anyway,
Oh, okay.
long story short, after
so you're not
almost
going to have
a year,
to drive to Truckee or drive up over to Reno or something to pick it up or anything.
I mean, I would drive to Santa Fe at this point just to get this done. But,
I know it's been a year.
Yeah, I know it has been a year. So now I have to relearn how to do it, of course, too. But at least I will soon have all the pieces and can start working on the process again.
I mean, a lot of the people watching probably know what that is. I mean, what a daguerreotype is, but it's a piece of silver basically that you're putting on. You go.
Well, it's basically a piece of copper that, in this case, the silver is clad onto the copper.
On top of it, and clad and rolled out.
Yeah. So the image, and this is the first photograph. This was invented in 1839, and somebody, maybe it's Mike, said that, you know, daguerreotypes were invented in 1839, and photography has gone downhill ever since. So,
yeah, that's Mike.
Because they are a beautiful, beautiful thing, you know, as an object.
Well,
they're hard to look at.
The thing about them is you look at all those things, Southworth and Hawes, and you know, I mean, Mike's things are beautiful, but unlike other photographs, it actually looks like you've captured something in there because it's three-dimensional and it's scary, you know?
Nothing looks like it. Nothing looks like it.
You know, you can see why people would think that you stole part of their soul, really, because, you know.
Especially then, yeah. And I mean, you can make an inkjet print that can pretty well imitate a platinum print or a gum over print.
Right.
You know, it's still on paper. There is nothing that looks like a daguerreotype other than a daguerreotype.
No.
So there's something,
and it needs to be presented
cool
in a certain way for those that don't know, because as you could see, it was a little difficult to see the image, but like if you're wearing a black t-shirt, or the way that Mike I've been in a couple of shows with Mike, and he's got these, the way that he presents them is incredible, because they sit up in such a way, and they have a lit kind of so they have a black thing in front of them, and you look at them and they're just, oh my God, they're just like, you can touch them, you can climb into them. They're incredible. Yeah.
Hey, Colin Corneau, I see your comment there. That book sounds cool. I'll send you my address. I'd love to read it. Thank you. And then
hey, and while we got Colin there, that reminds me of a question that he just asked a question the first week, but people were asking about coating and coating salt prints and things like that, and I didn't even get around to that but you coat with a rod at times, don't you? Or do you just pretty much do that for your sizing?
These days I do it for my sizing. I used to use a rod, you know, routinely, but I just enjoy coating with a brush more.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But nothing wrong with coating with the rod. Works great. And I do use it for applying sizing.
Now, if I could just jump back a little bit to the gum over platinums, I mean, you were pretty instrumental in kind of reviving that as well, as I remember, with, was it Michael with, who was that was doing that with you at that time? I mean,
Stuart
I know Clay
Melvin.
Harmon was, Stuart Melvin. That's it.
Yeah. Stuart's another really good friend of mine from Santa Fe. I actually met him at the open market in Santa Fe long time ago.
Yeah.
And he was there selling platinum prints back when nobody was really making platinum prints. Carol actually found his booth first. She said, "You got to come over here. This guy's making platinum prints."
Yeah.
So we started talking. We just became fast friends. And then together, he lives in Santa Fe. I live here in California. Together, basically by telephone and email, we worked out the gum over process ourselves, doing it the way we do it. I mean, obviously gum over was done in the early 1900s by Steichen and Stieglitz and all those people. But the way I do it, particularly the way I apply the gum and how I do the sizing is
which is now the way novel. I do it. So yeah,
works really well. It's not, and I'm not saying it's the only way to go, but you know, it works.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So yeah, that was 2001. So I've been doing that almost 20 years.
Yeah. I can remember back when I was doing platinums, and I was doing, this was funny too, and I was calling them my digital gum overs. When I was doing, I was basically doing what you were doing with the inkjet stuff now. Is, you know, what I was doing is I was doing that with, I was adding the tonality of a platinum or the gum over, that kind of thing. And then I was pulling out the black channel and making my negative and doing my thing, you know, but I don't know. I wasn't doing it on good papers. I was doing it on inkjet papers and things like that. So I don't even know if any of those still exist, but yeah, I remember looking at you guys thinking, well, there's got to be an easier way to do this, you know, but yeah, sure enough, there's never an easy way to do anything that is good, you know?
Well, there's always ways to streamline.
Yeah. But yeah, I know. But See, we're thinking of this in terms of what we do, like to people that have never even, you know, opened up a bottle of, you know, ammonium dichromate or anything like that. It's pretty complex stuff, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's pretty easy once you get rolling in it. But like wet plate, you know, wet plate was the big boogeyman, and I was so afraid. I don't know if you remember, I was terribly afraid of like opening the chemicals myself, you know. And so even though I kind of knew everything from Coffer's things, I flew out and hung out with you, which was the first time we actually physically met, which started a whole other can of worms, but we won't go there either. And we learned wet plate. And I just remember, like, it was like we poured a couple plates. And it's like, hey, you got this pretty good. You want to go do this? And it was like, yeah, we're going to go do that. But we had a great time. I remember that really well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
definitely.
I mean, you've taught so many people. And Jill, you know, I think about Jill and think about all the people and exponentially this growing out. And the, you know, Mark and you know, teaching through Eastman House. And, you know, it really has gone from almost completely dead arts to like being almost mainstream again, it seems. And more and more people coming in all the time.
Well, interesting you say that. Actually, hey, Dan Herrera, good
Hey,
to see you. I see
Dan,
you said
how
hello.
you doing?
Yeah, super talented photographer, gum printer, whatever. Dan, yeah, good
Dan's
guy.
great. I've used him in
Wet plate too.
a couple of presentations before, and I've actually been trying to get him to come to Photostock for a few years, and maybe that'll happen someday. And there's Don. Hey, Don, how you doing? He says can of worms, please.
Don, good to see you, buddy.
Don wants a can of worms. I actually just saw Don today. I drove to Cross Village, and we had a socially distanced meeting across 2 picnic tables, and it was pretty good to see another human. I mean, you know what I mean. It's like I've seen him twice now since this whole pandemic thing started, and he only lives 7 miles away from me. This is just craziness.
Yeah.
But anyway,
weird.
So you guys kind of like felt your way through the whole gum thing, because I can remember going to see a show. Some of the first, you know, Steikens that I actually saw, and I think I saw Carl Struess, and I've always loved Carl Struess. He's been one of my favorites. But I saw this Carl Struess of the Brooklyn Bridge, and it was a fairly common image of his, but this one was a gum over. And oh my God, I saw it in, I don't know where I was, and maybe a museum in Cincinnati where that whole, you know, I can't even remember the name of the show. Maybe somebody can say what it was. But anyway, it just opened my eyes to all this stuff. And that's when I realized that I had to start going there, you know. And to think that these guys were, you know, they were playing around with this. And I say guys, I use guys as kind of like a non-binary term. I should probably change that. But it's like people were doing this stuff for so long back in the day, and it just wasn't part of my vocabulary yet, you know. And then to find out there was this whole wealth of things that I didn't really know about was just incredible. And here you guys were doing this stuff at that time, and you know, it's just crazy the way this all came about. You know, I mean, I guess you'd have to say you guys, and then also you know, Sean for having APUG. You know, I mean, that was one. That's where this really exploded. You know, and I don't know. I think that's still going on. I mean, I haven't been there in quite a long time, and my apologies to Sean, but there's just so many things going on now that it's hard to pay attention.
Yeah,
you know?
Facebook, I think, has kind of been responsible for killing APUG and a lot of the forums and stuff, because everybody seems to just communicate that way, and there's so many groups on Facebook. And you know.
And what I found, Kerik, is recently I went over there for something, and it didn't really kill it. I mean, it's going. It's going. There's just a whole new crop of people in there. I didn't see very many familiar names from the old days, but you know, you got to remember that was back almost 20 years ago now.
I know, huh?
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Time's marching on.
So what's next for you? What do you, other than, you know, playing with the drones and stuff like that? I mean, I know you're getting into glass work.
That's the other, my other new obsession is glass blowing. Yeah. And I apologize. I should have a glass of scotch in a glass that I made right now, but I didn't plan ahead. For the last year, Carol and I have been taking glass blowing lessons from a guy in Sacramento. And we've been, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 times or something over the last year or so. And, you know, when learning glass blowing, you realize how easy photography is. At least printing, and, you know, the techniques of photography are easy. Glass blowing.
Easy to you now, but yeah, I understand.
No, but even so, I mean, it'll be 10 years before I'm a decent glass blower, I think.
It's not such a physical thing, and a lot of what I see is physical.
Yeah. And just, you know, it's just such a different medium. And plus the fact you can't do it a whole lot. I mean, we're never going to have our own studio to blow glass here and, you know, keep melted glass going 24 hours a day.
Right.
So when you only do it once every few months, you know, you progress slowly, but it's just a blast. I love every part of it.
I think you might have been like
so
me
different.
when we were down at, for those of you that don't know, I assisted Kerik on a workshop down at Penland in North Carolina a couple years back, or a little over a year ago, and the glass blowing building was not too far away from ours, and those guys, those people in there, they went all night long, and it was always kind of a party going on in there. And so I know I wandered in there a lot, and I know you did. Was that kind of where you started picking up on it, or?
It's something I've actually, way back when we were still in college, Carol and I signed up for a glass blowing class at San Francisco State and ended up dropping it. It was too much. I couldn't fit it in with the real classes I had to do.
Yeah. Too much.
So the interest literally goes back to when I was in college, but have done nothing about it. I've always admired glass blowing and glass artists. There's a woman named Sally Prash who teaches at Penland. And I have a piece, I was able to exchange a photograph for a piece that she made. There's a guy named Preston Singletary who's from the Seattle area, a Native American that just does incredible glass work, mind-blowing stuff.
Now that I think back, I remember being in Mendocino with you and you were showing me this one glass artist that was making these crazy bongs, and they were just like, oh my God, there was just crazy artwork. It was beautiful. That's right. I remember you. That was before Penland. So yeah, you did have that glass thing going.
And that was actually, that was Micah Evans, who I met at Penland, actually.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Small world.
He's another just incredible artist. And oh my goodness. My dear wife, Carol, who had knee surgery a few days ago, and she's shuffling around with a walker.
Oh my gosh, that's right. She had, cheers.
She had double meniscus repair.
Oh, good.
So she brought me some scotch in a glass that
I saw she was on there. I hope that
one of us made.
I hope that she's recovering well. I know that operation, and that was
going to take some time.
Dog, right? The new dog
who's also here. Come here, Zuki. Come here. Yes, we have this crazy new dog named Zuki. Doesn't want to come on camera, but yeah, it was just one of those things. She was in the backyard, and Zuki came tearing by. He's a puppy. He's still pretty uncoordinated. He ran into her and just kind of threw her off balance in such a way that she tweaked her knee and tore 2 menisci.
Oh gosh.
So the surgery went well. We had, same guy that did my hips did her knee. He's a great surgeon, great doctor.
Here's to you, Carol.
So
hey.
So yeah, I mean, it's just going to take time now.
Yeah, I'm glad. Well, let's see. So where else do you want to go with this? I have not been watching her. I keep seeing people top by. I didn't know if you got any questions here or anything like that. And well, Dave, you just got that answer. I'm going back here.
Carol's doing okay.
Yeah, good. And there's Don. Hey, Jerry, how you doing? I hope you're still there. Dan Herrera. Well, let's see. This is an interesting thing because we could go down a lot of different rabbit holes, but let's see. Now, tell people what's going on here. I mean, we are going to be, as it stands, there is another workshop scheduled for November out at Yosemite, and as far as you know, that is still happening, right?
As of now, that's going to happen.
Yeah. And it will happen under safe conditions and things like that, I'm assuming. And I know that Matthew Adams is going to want to keep that going good. So we're going to change how we're going to structure the workshop a little bit, and there's actually going to be more field time involved with the workshop, where we're going to split the class. Right now we have 4 people. We were going to stop it. I usually do 6 there, as you know. Yeah.
We had 4 signed up, and because of the whole COVID thing, I said, well, why don't we just stop it? Let's just call it full at 4 and do this one that way. And then we started talking about, how can we restructure this to make it a full class, but keep everybody safe. So basically the way it's going to work, people will get more time to photograph. We're going to split the class into 2, where half the class, we're going to do lectures together. Okay. But when we actually start printing, half the class, 3 people will be taken by one of the Ansel Adams guides out to photograph. The other 3 will stay in the workshop room and print, and then vice versa. Idea. So you'll have less darkroom time than the workshop was before, but more time photographing in Yosemite with people that live there.
Well,
I mean, I always take people out, but
yeah,
honestly, I don't know Yosemite all that well compared to the folks that do the guides there. So that's the
right.
plan for this workshop in the fall and on into next year. And I'm going to actually do 3 workshops next year for the first time. 2 are going to be gum over platinum.
Oh, good.
And then I'm going to do an advanced platinum printing class where we're going to print on Gompi papers. We're just going to try lots of different things for people who already are familiar with the process.
Very nice.
uh,
So,
um,
so are these classes already online? Can people go to the Yosemite website or the Ansel Adams
for
Gallery website?
for 2020, the 2020 workshops are online. Not the
Okay.
2021 ones won't be there yet.
Okay.
So as of now, we had 4 people signed up for the November workshop, which means there should be 2 openings. You know, I should talk to Matthew about this to confirm it, but I don't see any reason doing it this way. We can't have 6 people in that workshop.
Okay.
And,
Now, when
and
Kerik's
the other,
talking about Matthew, he's talking about Matthew Adams, the grandson of Ansel Adams.
yep,
And Matthew
yep.
kind of runs the
Hey,
whole
Sarah.
show down there.
Sarah's here, Bill.
Oh, yeah.
Hoot
Hey,
more.
how are you doing? Oh, and Diane Udelson, hi there. How are you? And Heather, you know, hello everyone. I'm sorry. And sometimes I don't know people's handles. That doesn't match their name, so I'm not really sure who I'm talking to. But wow, this is great. So we've got a lot of people watching here. So anyway, you can go to the Yosemite, go to the Ansel Adams. Just look up Ansel Adams Gallery online. You can go to their page, and they have the workshop set up through there that you can sign up for Kerik's workshops and a whole bunch of other workshops that are there. One thing that I will say, if you don't mind, is that doing one of Kerik's workshops in Yosemite is, wow. It's a, you know, I mean, talk about going to the most perfect place on earth to learn something. And what I was going to say is that this workshop where you're talking about going out with Evan or somebody else, because I mean, Evan can teach a lot of things about the whole Ansel Adams archive and that kind of thing, but also just to go out, you know, one of my problems is that whenever I come out for those groups, we hang right there around the Ansel Adams house in the darkroom and really don't get a chance to do much out there in Yosemite, which is just almost a crime because you're in the middle of the most perfect place on earth and you're stuck in a darkroom. So this sounds good. So if anybody's out there that wants to sign up, you should go there and do this.
Yeah,
now, you're also you did some, have you done a Zoom one-on-one yet? Have you done anything like that? I was talking with Jill about that.
I haven't yet, but
yeah,
I, you know, I think it'd be a real effective way to work, especially with somebody who's starting from scratch on Zoom might be tough, but for somebody who's, you know, a beginner, has already learned the basics,
right?
I mean, because face it, you know, a lot of what we do, especially platinum plating and gum, the printing parts of it, it's not really that hard. You know, the whole trick is in the digital negative.
Right.
And I saw Richard Boutwell float through here earlier. I'm not sure
Richard,
if he's still on. But Richard's software, Quick Curve DN, which has been out for, I guess, about a year now, maybe a little bit more, has made both making digital negatives and teaching how to make digital negatives much easier.
Much easier.
So
for everybody out there, and Richard too, I'm sorry that I haven't called you back. That just reminded me, Richard called me like 3 weeks ago.
There he is. Hey, Richard.
Hey, Richard. But anyway, I'm sorry I did not call you back. It's not any other reason other than my brain just doesn't work right anymore during this pandemic.
I can vouch for that.
But yeah, you can. But anyway, what I'm also working on is a video, because I've got this YouTube channel. So I'm working on a YouTube kind of a step through Richard's program, because Richard's program is really great, but it kind of like confuses people a little bit at first, although it's the best way out there to do this, I think, right now. And so if anybody wants to check that out, we can give Richard a plug. That's Quick Curve DN. I think it's black and white mastery.
BWmastery.com is his website.
Yeah. Just look up Richard Boutwell and you'll find out what we're talking about. If you're interested in doing digital negatives and you want to try going down that rabbit hole yourself. But that's something that you learn at Kerik's workshop. And as far as this last one that we didn't have, I was going to come out and teach that part of it. And I hope I'll get that chance again at some point. But I'm boning up on it pretty good. And actually, the reason that I had to call in for Richard is I wanted to get down to some of the finer points that perhaps he could tell me, that kind of thing. So, Richard, I will get back. I hope I'll.
And last year, John Sheets did the digital negative part. I think was it the March workshop last year, I believe.
Yeah.
He's really well versed in it as well.
Yeah.
So,
And he's been using that one as well. And Ike also, David Eisenlord.
Yep.
Is John on there? I didn't see John tonight. But anyway, yeah, that's good. Well, so, and then also Kerik does workshops at his home, which is what I've done before. He does do one-on-ones, and if anybody's interested in that, kerik.com is the coolest, easiest URL of all. But you can go there and check out his work, which I highly urge you to do. But you can also, you know, you can book time with Kerik if it's right to go there and learn from the master himself. And believe me, it's well worth the money and the time to go out there. You know, I mean, really, all you need is one day with you. You know, I mean, that's how, you know, you're good at getting the point across. And there's not a whole lot of fiddling around. You just get right down to it. So yeah, try him for that. Try him for that kind of thing. And I really hope that everybody will have a look and maybe come on one of our runs with us. That would be fun if we do that in the future.
Yeah, yeah, they're a blast. We always have, no matter what happens, we manage to have a good time.
Yeah, we do. We do. And we've been lucky enough with Northern Lights and Faroe Islands
Oh
where you
man.
don't get so much of that. We've had beautiful weather, and you know, it was very painful. I don't know about you. I think we talked a little bit during that time, but that was a really hard thing to go through, knowing that, you know, I had the schedule, you know, so on this day I was thinking, yeah, today we would have been in Klaksvik, and today we would have been, you know, going down to Sandoy Island on the ferry. You know, it's gonna, but it's gonna be good. That's the thing, is it's gonna be really good. I did see the other day, and this was something I was going to send out as a newsletter to the trip people, and I'm sorry for everybody else that's listening, but was the fact that Denmark is really getting it together, and they're now randomly testing people that are coming in with a really quick test. And so they've pretty much gotten a really good handle on it. In Faroe Islands, it's pretty much been eradicated. I don't know if their borders are open yet or not, but it's coming down to it. I think that they're handling it a lot better than we are.
Well,
yeah,
low bar, but yeah.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen now?
Hey,
you know,
Alex is here. How you doing, Alex? Good to see
Hi,
you, my
Alex.
friend.
Good for you for seeing that. Hey, Colin. Oh, I see laughs. I don't know what we've done, but we've done something. Anyway, yeah, so I don't know. What else? You know, you've been talking about doing this. You know, tell us a little bit. This is another part that we haven't gotten into with Kerik yet, is that Kerik and both I have really kind of gotten into filmmaking, which is really, really interesting. And me for mostly short videos and things, but Kerik has done some really nice work. And he did a documentary on kind of a documentary on your trip to Mongolia, the first trip. So why don't you tell people a little bit about what you're working on right now?
Yeah, wow. So I've taken on a pretty huge project, it turns out. Last April-ish, anyway, Carol and I were out garage sailing on a weekend. I'll try to make this the Reader's Digest version of the story, but on our way home, we see one more sign, estate sale this way. It's like, okay, we'll go look at one more. To make a long story short, it turns out the estate that was being sold was for a guy who was a geophysicist in Antarctica in the late 50s. And not only that, he's still alive and living in Anaheim. So I ended up buying this estate, you know, a Land Cruiser's full of boxes of stuff. Some of the equipment that he had, books, textbooks. But it turned out what the real gem of the whole collection was a shoebox full of letters that Tom wrote home to his wife, Mabel, while he was gone. When he left, they had a 3-year-old, a 1-year-old, and a 1-month-old. And he said, bye, Mabel, I'll be back in 15 months.
Yeah, so he's off in Antarctica having a great time, and she's at home dealing with three.
He's a young geophysicist. This is the assignment of a lifetime to go do geophysics work in Antarctica. And Mabel's got a 3-year-old, a 1-year-old, and a 1-month-old.
Yeah.
But he wrote her all these letters. She saved all the letters. She wrote him some letters back. And when you start reading through the letters, I mean, a lot of interesting things happened along the way on the trip. But what's really beautiful about the story is the relationship between Tom and Mabel and how much he loved her.
Yeah, they kept it together.
Oh man, and she passed away about 10 years ago now. And so Tom is in an elder care facility in Anaheim. When we interviewed him last summer, Bill and I went down there with my wife Carol and my daughter Sarah. We spent 2 days interviewing Tom on camera.
Yeah.
And then interviewing some of his family members.
Well, we got to meet the children, which was pretty interesting, meeting them at our
yeah.
age. And yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and what's really interesting, so much that's in these letters, the family didn't even know about. They had never
Yeah.
read these letters. These were
Yeah.
letters from Tom to Mabel that they, these were their memories. And
Yeah.
so during the filming, when I'm reading through the letters and talking to Tom, and stories about, Eric hitting Kevin on the head or whatever, like, pushing him out of the crib, and, just things that little kids do. And, here he's, as an adult older than me or my age-ish, he's learning about things that happened when he was a baby.
When he was a kid. Yeah, it was really fascinating being the fly on the wall in that room, watching that happen and watching everything happen that happened, which we won't talk about, but it really ended up being one of these magical, crazy things. I mean, what you did was a gift to that family. Not only was it kind of all of us that were in that room when that happened, so yeah, it was really, really
what
something.
Bill's talking
I mean,
about.
The guy's
I'm not going to give away
cool
the
guy,
ending,
even his
at
90s.
the very end of 2 days of shooting, something really amazing was revealed that nobody knew was coming. And that's all I'm going to say about it at this point, because I want you to watch the movie whenever I finish it.
Yeah.
But
there
it
wasn't
was
a dry eye in that room for a while.
No, there was not. So my issue is now that I'm still really a beginning filmmaker.
Right.
And I have a huge pile of work to do. I have a stack that high of black and white prints that I've scanned that Tom took. Just incredible stuff. I have a bunch of color slides that he took on the trip that are scanned. So this is going to be a very Ken Burnsy kind of thing, where I will be, sort of narrating the story, using the stills, and then some of the interview with Tom, all kind of interweaved together to tell the story.
To say with to just like the interview with Tom was really interesting because he was sharper at times as other times not, just like we are right now. And
and he's 91.
And he's not. But the thing that I took from it was you got these photographs and started posting a few of them. I was there and I heard the stories, and basically he's got a visual record of the stories that he told us. So it's like, even before you told me or captioned the photograph, I'd see the photograph and I think, oh my God, that's when he was in South Africa, or, oh my God, that was, and anyway, so I hope we're not, I think that everybody would enjoy this, and hopefully enjoying the conversation, but it was one of the most amazing things I'd ever seen. So here, Kerik, out of you buying a bunch of boxes of stuff at a garage sale, it like sent, I think, everybody down this really interesting path,
I tell you what, I mean, if I hadn't stumbled on that estate sale, and the reason we even got talking, I picked up, some of the stuff she had out for sale were like some rocks. So I'm looking at these cool rocks, and I told her what it was, and she, oh, you a geologist? Yeah, I'm retired now, but blah, 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 and I'm also a filmmaker. And she said, well, just a minute. So she had all this other stuff inside the house, because it wasn't really, I mean, who's going to buy these old maps and all this other stuff?
Right.
Most, in this box of letters probably would have ended up in a recycle bin somewhere, and the whole story would have just gone away. And think how many stories out there are like that,
Yeah, I know.
In a shoebox somewhere, never to be seen again. So I feel lucky to stumble across.
That again is part of the, I know you and I talked a lot about this ahead of time, and I was kind of like always playing the devil's advocate and saying, well, you need a hook, you need something in here, you need whatever, which we ended up getting, which was like, like, anyway, I just remember that moment looking at you thinking, holy shit, it just happened. But anyway,
it just happened,
but the thing is that like it's happened in ways that you never even realized, like, I mean, it's just really something the way that this is touched. And that's going to be one of the great things of this, is that it is a story that has happened in other families and things, but it just hasn't been documented in this way. So everybody will relate to it in that way as well. It doesn't matter that it's in Antarctica. It doesn't matter that it's anything. It's this crazy story that part of the family didn't even find out about until we were sitting in this room in Anaheim,
Yep.
So,
yep.
anyways,
I know. I mean, and I'll also say this. I have a website set up for the movie that's just tomandmabelmovie.com. And I haven't posted much there yet, but I'm going to kind of, as I progress through the movie, I'm going to post a few pictures and just sort of to keep interest up in what's going on. So,
it'll
feel free to.
It'll help you too, because, it's not going to matter that it's going to take you a little while, because you've got a really great story and you just have to learn how to put it together in the right way now,
Right. And see, here's the thing. I want to finish it while Tom's still here.
Yeah.
I mean, and so that could be another year, that could be a month. I mean, who knows? So I have this undefined deadline of trying, and you know, Tom is legally blind, so he won't be able to see much, but he can hear with a
You can
hearing
hear it.
aid, and he has this viewing screen. I mean,
Do a trailer.
you know, even a rough cut, something for him to see and hear while he's still here. That's my goal.
Even just a trailer would do it. I mean, for him to hear that stuff and to hear himself and to, yeah. Well, anyway, you had also sent me, and I don't know whether I'm revealing anything, but you had sent me a message that it's the granddaughter, and I'm sorry, I forget her name, but she was wonderful. She really helped out a lot.
Alicia.
Oh, yeah, Alicia. Geez, I'm sorry, you know.
That's
but
okay.
yeah, but you sent me that letter, and I think
Richard Boutwell. Hang on, stop. Richard Boutwell. Where's the Kickstarter? Take my money. That is not a bad idea, my friend. That is not a bad idea.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah, well, maybe
I've never done crowdfunding before.
You know, because you're going to need a little bit of scratch to pull this thing off, and you've already put a lot of yours in, you know.
Holy shit.
Tell everybody,
money I've spent.
Flew me out there, you know, we drove through the searing desert heat for 7 hours to go there. That was, I'm not kidding you.
We had air conditioning, Bill.
Yeah, well, we were in a little tin can. I thought we were going to die. I'm serious. I was nervous back in the back seat. I was keeping my cool and taking pictures out the window, you know, but I was thinking, that window's hotter than shit, you know, we're going to die.
Welcome to California.
Yeah, I know. I live up here in the woods, right? You know, what do I know? But we did go to Disneyland. Yeah, that was a cool time. Yeah, we have a lot of fun. You guys got to come on a trip with us. I'm telling y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. Bill with Mickey Mouse ears is a sight to see.
Yeah, that was good. And Kerik's daughter, who is like so well versed in Disney. I mean, she's just such a pleasure to hang with anyway. But I did not know that about Sarah, and you know, she can drive and talk Disney at the same time, which I was pretty happy about.
Indeed.
Yeah. Anyway, well, this has been a great time, my friend. We've come up. It's almost an hour here already. Can you believe it?
No, holy crap.
Yeah.
Wow, it is 5 o'clock here almost. Wow.
Do you want to? You got anything else you want to? I think we've covered things pretty well. Maybe we haven't. You know, I don't know. I can't. I can see some of this stuff, but people are mostly just saying hi, which is really nice. And I don't know. What I will tell everybody is that before I get on with that, is that I will archive this on the it'll be archived also on the Instagram, but unfortunately we won't be able to see the comments, which is kind of sad to me. But I will also be repurposing this on my YouTube channel, which you can just look up Northlight Photographic Workshops YouTube channel. And also it'll be linked here somehow. You'll find it. But it will be up there for you to see and to digest a little bit later. But anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
What were we talking about?
Yeah, see, that's me too. Yeah,
but you know, but that's the thing. I mean, right now it's filmmaking, daguerreotypes, and glass blowing. Oh, but then there's drones. I'm not doing a lot of printing these days. I will say that. You know, I used to print, if not every day, several days a week, and that isn't really happening that much right now, which is fine. I actually sold a couple prints from the Japan trip, so I printed those up and sent those out.
Nice.
But I really need to focus on the movie, and just bear down and get through it, and get something done, because there is a really beautiful story there, even if it, you know, it doesn't have Ken Burns at the helm, but you know, he's my my
I don't know.
guru
I think you're going to do a good job.
Thing.
You know, you're going to do a good job. You know, your first movie was fantastic, so you know you're going to be that much better. And you know enough people that you can pull in, like you pulled in Debbie to help you with the editing before, and that made a big difference. And Debbie, I don't know if she's there or if she's even hip to what's going on right now, but yeah, that was really good. And I mean, you know, she's a real pro, and that's one thing that's really lucky about us and me especially, is that I know people like you and Clay, the propeller heads, people that know stuff and that you can do, and we're lucky enough to have a network of people that. So I think you're going to do something really pretty fantastic there. You know, I think that it'll be good. I know it'll be good. I mean, I was there. I know what's there. It's just a matter of
you know what happened. Yeah. If it's not good, it's my fault at this point. I mean, that's sort of what it comes down to.
Yeah, exactly. And I know, you've never done anything disappointing, so I know you're going to do fine with it. But yeah, and like you were saying before, and maybe this is a good way to end the note, is like, Hey everyone, I hope you catch up with me again, and I'm sorry that we cut out there because I think what happened was we went overtime. Maybe they only allow you an hour, which it does say that it's 8:01, so I'm assuming that that's the case. So if Kerik joins back in, I'll get him back in and we'll close this out, and I'll edit together correctly for the rest of it. But I really apologize. I'll know in the future not to go over. Here's Kerik again, so we'll get him back in here. We talked too long, so isn't that great? Here we go. We're connecting now.
Boom.
There he is. Hey, I think we went over. We went to an hour and it killed. So so there you go. Anyway, so now everybody will be able to. I'll edit this together so that you can see it fine on the YouTube channel. But unfortunately, it'll be in 2 little clips on the Instagram, I think. But you know, anyway,
right. Thanks a lot, Bill. This was fun, man.
Yeah, I had a great time. Thanks. And, you know, we'll get you back on here when you get everything else going. You know, I mean, you know, there's no reason that this conversation has to end. And same with Jill and everybody else I'm going to have on. Oh, everybody next week, I'm not even going to announce yet, but it's going to be a cool week and I'll announce things during the week. You know, I'm just kind of getting everything set now. So anyway, with that, we're going to say goodbye. Thank you, sir. All right. Take care.
See you, Bill.
All right. Bye. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone. Thank you.